Hello, everybody. Welcome to another training session. Today, we are going to go over how to upload a lease transaction into Skyslope. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here, and we will jump right in. Okay, so we have the screen shared right now. First thing that we're going to do is we are going to use the Skyslope prompt through EXP Enterprise. So the first thing you're going to want to do is log into your EXP Enterprise. To do that, you just go to expenterprise.com, log in with your login credentials, and that's going to bring you to the home page. So we're going to go ahead and click on Skyslope right here. I already have Skyslope open. So Skyslope will open just like this. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the Skyslope file as a guide because I always recommend, even if you're doing a purchase or a listing, start the transaction in Skyslope, and that will give you the checklist for all of the necessary documents. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to start a transaction. Okay, so we're going to create a new transaction. All right, so we're going to click transaction. This is going to be a lease tenant. So you secured, this video is going to be dealing with you securing a tenant for a residential rental. Okay, this is only going to be for the tenant. So we're going to go ahead and do lease tenant. Now we're going to go ahead and use one of my properties. It was actually just leased, but we're going to use it as almost like a placeholder. So let's see if we can find 1614 West Hollywood. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start right here, and we'll just use this property as a guide. You'll go ahead and put in whatever property you are helping that tenant secure for the lease. Okay, this is going to be a Texas office transaction, and you're just going to roll through the Skyslope prompts. So this is a Texas. Let's see, it is not a new build. It's going to be a Texas rental transaction. Okay, so it has all the information. Continue. The purchase price, let's just say you got it leased for $1,500 a month. And let's say today was the acceptance date. If you need to change that or go back, you can change that. And let's say it's going to close in 30 days. Okay, so let's say September the 10th. It's going to go ahead and close. All the stuff that's optional, you can leave it optional. Source, let's just say it was a personal referral and it's not an office lead, then we'll go ahead and continue. Okay, the tenant. Let's just say I'm just going to make up a a person here. So it'll be Joe Davis. Okay, Joe Davis. This is going to be your client name. If your client is the tenant, you'll put their email. So just for a placeholder, you know what? It says it's optional, so let's do that. Just as a placeholder, just for illustration, I'm going to put these zeros in there for the phone number. Now, keep in mind for these fields in Skyslope that are required, you will have to put something in there. Even if you don't have the information, put some information in there to hold that place because you will not be able to move forward until all these fields are complete. Okay. Now, the landlord, this is if you know who the seller is. If you don't know who it is, then you might not need to put it in there. So let's just say you don't know who the landlord is. Okay. You're just going to put no name. Again, if it's a required field, you will have to put something in there. Okay, so let's see if it lets us continue. Okay, cool. So agent on the other side, let's just say, and what it did here is it pre-filled the listing agent, okay, because I imported it directly from MLS. So let's just say it does not import the information straight from MLS. You'll just put the listing agent's brokerage, their first name, last name, email. So Carla is my property manager. She was the one listing this property. So let's just go ahead and leave that. But in case you need to put it in, you can input it manually. You can find this information on the MLS listing. So we'll go ahead and Click save and continue. Okay. Escrow and title, obviously, this is a rental, so there's no escrow and title. But we know that these are going to be required fields. So you're just going to put no name, first name, no name, no name at noname.com because again, it will not let you move forward. So let's go ahead and continue. Did it involve a loan officer? No. Since it's a rental, are you using a TC? No. We're filling it out and it was not a referral. Okay, so the commission, it's a purchase price. Now let's just say your rental commission on this one is $350. Okay. Oh, that's a percentage. So we're going to do a dollar amount. So let's say $350. Okay. There's no listing commission. We're only dealing with the tenant, no other deductions, no other notes. Let's continue. There's not going to be any earnest money, no deposit, optional, so we don't need to worry about that. No additional deposits. Now let's go ahead and create the transaction. Once we create the transaction, we'll be able to look at the checklist. The checklist is the most important part here because we need to satisfy this checklist in order to get our disbursement authorization to get paid. All right. So these are the documents needed for your lease transaction. And you can go up and recheck all this information, make sure it's correct. This is a lease, it's a rental transaction. Here's the sales price, here's the tenant that we're doing, closing on the 10th. All right, so what you will need is your IABS, you will need your wire fraud warning, and you will need your buyer broker representation, which is the buyer representation, buyer tenant representation agreement. All right. Now, these are, if applicable, if you have your, any amendments, any info for flood hazards, anything like that, you will need the MLS showing that the property has been leased. So once the listing agent updates the MLS, you'll need to fill that out. I'm sorry, you'll need to upload that PDF. You save it from the MLS. You will need the lease agreement. That will be the document provided usually by the property manager. Most times they will complete the lease agreement for a lease transaction. And if there's an addendum regarding rental flood disclosure, it says this is a required document. So you're going to want to request this document from the listing agent. See if there's any addendum regarding the rental flood disclosure. You'll probably need to have your client sign that disclosure. Okay. Now, the other items that you'll need a copy of the EXP lease invoice, a copy of the rental commission check, and the other company W-9. Now, if you are representing the tenant, you will request the W-9 from the listing agent. The reason why is because EXP is going to pay, the listing broker is going to pay EXP. So you will need a copy. You know what? I take that back. This is if you're paying the tenant's broker. Okay, so if you're not paying the tenant's broker, you're representing the tenant. So I don't think you'll need that. But just in case, there's an EXP W-9. And if you need to request the other company's W-9, you would request that through the listing agent and they will provide it. Now, I want to show you where you can find the lease invoice and where you can find the EXP updated W-9. Now, you'll get this copy of the rental commission check from the listing agent because they will be the one paying you. All it needs to be is a copy of the check. Once they send you a copy of the check that they're going to send to EXP, you can upload that copy right here. All right. So your lease agreement, if it doesn't come from the listing agent, it will be the TXR 2001. It will need to be a fully executed lease agreement from all parties. You'll upload it right here. The addendum regarding the rental flood disclosure, you'll request that from the listing agent. All parties will need to fill it out and execute it, and you will upload it right here. Now, your IABS and your wire fraud and your buyer broker agreement, those are going to be TXR forms. You can access those through zip forms. I always recommend filling out those forms through zip forms. And once they are completed by all parties and your clients have signed, upload the completed documents here. Once everything is uploaded, all these required documents are satisfied, you'll get the green light and EXP will issue your disbursement. Now, let me show you where to find these documents, specifically the lease invoice and the W-9. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Skyslope. So let's go back to the Skyslope home. And what you're going to do is you are going to pull up the forms library, which is right here in the apps, and you're going to switch to Skyslope forms. More times than not, any necessary forms for these transactions will be included in the working docs section of Skyslope's forms. So what we're going to do here is we are going to look for the required forms. So let's see, we're going to browse libraries. All right. And you can see right here, all libraries. We're going to look in the EXP Texas broker library. So let's go ahead and open that up. We're looking for the lease invoice, which is right here. All right. Now you can either add it to Skyslope and fill it out from there, or you can simply click on it, download it, print it, and fill it out. I don't think this is fillable as a document just like this, but you can download it and import it into zip forms if you want to fill it out that way, or you can fill it out by hand and scan it back in. Now, let me just double check. Let's see what happens if we add to file. We're going to add it to an existing file. And let's see, we're going to add it. Let's see if we can find it here. I normally do not import files into Skyslope to fill them out. So I wouldn't really recommend it only because I'm really not that conversant with it. But let's see, maybe, let me close this. One form added. Okay, let's look here. Lease invoice, add to file. So maybe, let's see, maybe we can create a new file. And let me see, the only reason I'm trying to look for this like this is to see if it's fillable. So this is a tenant. Let's see if we can create. Your form has been added to the file. Let's see. Well, we can try to come back and address that. However, the way I would recommend doing it is accessing the lease invoice, simply downloading it, importing it into zip forms, and I would recommend filling it out in zip forms myself. That's the way I would do it. Now, also, if you needed to supply a W-9, which I think if you're representing a tenant, you might not need to. Well, you know what? Actually, you might need to supply the EXP W-9 if the listing agent requests it. So anyway, you'll find it right here. You can click on it. You can go ahead and download it directly from the Skyslope Forms library. Go ahead and download it, and then you can send it directly to the listing agent, and it will have the address where the check should be signed. Okay, the other thing, I'm sorry, where the check should be sent. Now, the other thing is on the lease invoice. Let's go ahead and close this. Let's go back to the lease invoice. This is very important. You're going to put your invoice number, which is just your agent license number. You're going to select who you're representing. You're representing the tenant. You'll put their information, the listing agent information, any other information here, the address, when you executed the lease, the rent amount, the percent, the commission due, all that good stuff. This is where the checks need to be sent. Here's the EXP tax ID number, and here is the mailing address that the lease check needs to be sent. This address is only for overnight, okay? So once all these documents are uploaded into Skyslope, you'll get the green light. You should get your disbursement authorization from the company. Share that with the listing agent. That way they know that you are good to be paid and everything is good on your end. And I hope this video helped you fill out your lease transaction in Skyslope. As always, drop a comment or send me a DM if you have any other questions. And happy selling, happy leasing, and happy buying. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. Thanks.